Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jenna, and today I have Josh with me to explain the house building process. I know it has been a very long awaited video. I get a little overwhelmed with questions because I don't know how to answer them, but Josh does, so.
At the end of this video, you should be able to build your own house for under, what, $200?
No, okay. Josh is probably gonna do most of the talking, but I'll just pop in whenever I feel like it. So, also, it's nighttime, so bear with the lighting, and also if I'm like out of it.
If I'm yawning.
Because it's getting late for us, it's like 8. So if you're not familiar with me or my channel, we just built a house and just moved in about a month ago. So this is what this video is about the new house and all that went into it, how we afforded it, sort of, if we talk about that. But I did just want to say also, before we get like into the details, that we probably won't talk too specific on the price of the house, just because I don't feel it's necessary to share exact numbers.
Talk about what the house costs.
Yeah, but we will do our best to try and describe like how we afforded it and saved up and all that.
Yep.
I did just want to add in a little background too. Josh has been framing houses for 8 or 9 years, right?
Yeah, going on 9, I think.
And now is dabbling in the house building world, and he has a lot of family also skilled in building and the ins and outs of building houses. I asked some questions on Instagram for like what you guys want us to talk about in this, like more specifically, and what you want covered, and we will probably do that at the end. We're just gonna wing it, and he's gonna explain sort of like the whole process, start to finish, and then if we didn't answer it well enough in the description, then we'll go and answer those questions at the end.
Got it.
So, take it away.
All right. So 3 years ago, I built a house. We kind of built it hoping to be able to find some property in the near future, but with the land prices so high, didn't really think that was a possibility. So we lived there for about 3 years, and then we found some land from a friend of ours who offered it to us at a good price, and it was right there in our price range, and it was exactly what we wanted. So we just pretty much decided in a matter of weeks to just go for it and see what happens. And at that time we were kind of looking, more so hoping we would find land, not expecting it, and then this one kind of just fell into our lap, so we figured we'd better take it and run with it. 8 to 10 months later, we ended up closing on the land and then starting the construction process. And then from June up until November, we were working on it, and then finally finished, and we're able to close on it and move in. A big part of that helped us be able to afford this is because the housing market just kind of skyrocketed after we built the first house, and we're able to leave with a solid chunk that we didn't expect. So it was kind of like ended up being like an investment home that we built 3 or 4 years ago, which
was sort of your plan.
Yeah, I built it as an investment and just kind of hoped that it would increase in value over the years, and it did.
This is like a side note, but right when we were deciding to sell, like I think probably a week before we put it on the market is when the whole world shut down. And
Yep.
So we were a little bit like, what's gonna happen? But it all turned out
Yeah, we
probably
wanted to
for the
wait.
better.
Yeah, we wanted to wait to list it in like April, and then COVID, I don't know if you guys know what that is, came into our town at least. And yeah, we just wanted to make sure we could get the house listed and that it would still sell. So we ended up listing it in March, so a little bit earlier than we planned.
How long did it take to sell?
It was on the market for like 34 days.
Okay.
So not too bad. We had all our furniture out like the first 2 days, so we lived with no furniture for 30 days, and then we lived in my parents' basement for 6 months. So that was a blessing to be able to stay somewhere like that and have somewhere to stay. But it was also a nice move-in day to move in here.
So let's talk about what all did you do in it? So aside from the equity we had from our first house, Josh did so much of it and like traded labor with people and We also just have a lot of family who's very skilled and sort of gifted us with their time and skills. And that is also a big part of the reason that we were able to build this house. So what all did you put into it?
I feel like I didn't do too much. I mean, like, we started with the preliminary plans, came up with a design. We had help on that too. A couple family members. We came up with the idea. They drew up the blueprints. I came up with some other blueprints and kind of put them together into this idea of a house. A lot of paperwork, a lot of phone calls. We dug the hole for the house. We did the foundation. We did the concrete. We did the framing, windows, house wrap, driveway.
You did a lot more than you think
There's
you did.
there's a lot to it. I had a lot of help, and then a lot of other people like reverse-siders, electricians who were just willing to come help us out whenever we needed. Of course, we paid them, but they would just show up when you needed them, so we appreciated that because we know they're busy too.
We should also add in that we didn't go through a builder or contractor. They just did it. He just did it himself, so.
Yeah, so I was technically the builder / contractor on it, which immediately can save you thousands of dollars on like $10, $20, $30,000 depending on the builder. So that's huge to be able to, for me to be able to be in this business for about 8 or 9 years now. I was able to learn that and be able to do that and save that money. So that was all the stuff that we did, and then we hired out like the roofers, the siders, the heating and cooling, electric, plumbing. We had somebody tile our shower. He did a great job on that.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to like actually pinpoint what we.
Well, there's so much that goes into a house. There's so many line items, so many subs to think about. But we also had a lot of people come help us out.
Mm-hmm. Lots of family and friends were very generous with their time and effort and skills when doing this. But
I'm also gonna throw in that we painted this place, and we had a lot of help painting too.
yes,
And we're never painting again because painting is a lot harder than it looks.
and a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
takes a lot of time.
So I don't really know what else to say about like the process, so we'll maybe just go into your guys' questions. And then if you're coming from just like YouTube search or you're new here, just if you want, you can comment questions and I'll have him maybe answer them on my account or something, just so that you can get your questions answered too, as best as we can. But for now, I'll pull up the Instagram questions. Okay, first question is, if you want to build your own house one day, where would you start?
If you don't have any skills in the building industry, I would go to a builder. They have high charges and they're worth every penny. If I didn't know how to do it, I would have had to do that. I would have had no other options. Otherwise, if you know somebody in the industry, talk to them. Maybe they'll help you out, teach you, as long as you're willing to put in the work and be on standby for a lot of phone calls and trips out to the project. Then yeah, other than that, call a professional. If they charge you 10, 20, 30,000, they're worth it. It's a big job.
Yeah, I'd also add, just before you get your heart set on it, to make sure you take into account like the costs and everything before you just jump on it.
If you do it yourself, the cost will be higher than you estimate, more than likely.
Yeah.
Unless you aim really high, because there's a lot of charges that just came out of nowhere that we didn't expect.
Yeah, even when we did it ourselves, we were just like, whoa, where did that come from? But yeah, so just be prepared for the price before you get like your heart set on it.
Another perk with going with the builder, they have everything spelled out, and
Yeah.
you have a contract with them, so the price, whatever you agree on, that'll be the price.
Probably a lot less stressful too once you have everything all planned out. The next question is tips to building a home for the first time and how to make it affordable.
To make it affordable, besides doing it yourself, go small. The square footage definitely matters. We're not talking specific price, but a baseline right now in this market is probably like $150 to $200 per square foot. So if you're gonna have a 2,000 square foot house, it could be upwards of $400,000. If you do it yourself, you can obviously cut that price down, but it's somewhere in that margin. It's a pretty accurate guess. Another way to make it affordable, there's options like instead of getting quartz or granite countertops, you get Formica. Get a cheaper in flooring, hang shelves yourself instead of having your builder do it.
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace for things that you don't need to be brand new.
If you're fine with used appliances, you can get used appliances. Siding, I mean, if you're paying like $2 per square foot of siding, and you could find one for $1.20 per square of siding, 80 cents times 1,000 or 1,500 could save you a lot.
I also don't know how it works if you do go with like a builder. If you can choose if you want to do stuff yourself, you can?
Most you can.
Okay, so like if you had any skills, like if you did want to take on painting or trim or whatever that you're good at, then do whatever you can yourself.
Right, you'd probably have to do a good job because they're still going to be professionals about it, so they want it to look professional as well. Mm-hmm. And then you'll have to be like fit their schedule and be timely with it because they got a schedule to keep.
Yeah.
What else can make it affordable? There's lots of different options.
Just, I think sometimes people get really set on making it very Pinterest worthy, and Pinterest worthy homes are very expensive. Mm-hmm. So you can find ways to make it look very nice, but way cheaper. Like you said about the countertops. You don't have to have granite or quartz countertops in order to make it look nice. They have really nice options of Formica now. Same with like cabinets. You can find cheaper places for cabinets that still look really nice.
Plumbing fixtures.
Yeah.
Gas range or electric range. It's like a difference of like $100, which doesn't sound like much when you're taking on like a big mortgage, but if you save a couple $100 on 10 different items, like that adds up. That's something we realized.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of things, most things in the house, we tried to find the cheapest version that was still good quality and looked nice, but we tried to find the cheapest option. Mm-hmm. Okay, next question. How do you afford to build a new one while you currently have a mortgage?
Okay. So what we did for that, we actually didn't have a mortgage at the time because we sold before we started building and then moved in with my parents. But you can do it as long as your lender is willing to work with you. So a lot of lenders don't like you to have a mortgage for obvious reasons. You would be indebted to 2 different banks. Some will work with you, especially in this market because it's kind of a booming market and they don't want to just like turn you down. They know people can pay it, things like that. But you get a construction loan from a lender, and what that is a temporary loan, usually 6 months, and they'll give you up to, I think, 80% of what the house will cost. So if your house is going to be worth $200,000, they'll give you up to $160,000 to use toward the house, and then it's up to you to come up with that 20% down payment, which is pretty standard for a down payment, 20%. And then they will fund that for 6 months, and they'll take monthly payments, and they can take it out of that money they borrowed you. So you don't have to actually give them cash every month. They'll just, if you owe 160, they'll take out a percentage of that to pay themselves, and they'll hold that for usually 6 months, like I said. And then at the day of closing, let's say that's 6 months later, the mortgage company will then come in and pay the lender off, and then you will only owe the bank. So the reason you're getting the mortgage then is to cover your construction loan, which paid for your house.
I'd be so lost if he didn't know all this stuff. Like, I would have no idea. So I'm glad he's here to answer it, because I still don't really get it. But
it helps when you go through it. It sounds confusing right away, and you really have to just do it to learn. And even if like I'm explaining it good enough for you guys, it's fairly simple, but it won't be through the process. And then by the end of it, you'll figure it all out.
And then you'll be such a pro at it, you could do it again without any questions, right?
Yeah, and then everyone can be a builder.
Yeah. Like he said, you can build your own house at the end of this video.
Anything you dream of.
Yeah. Okay.
That's true, though.
That is true. You want to go on a tangent?
No.
Okay.
Because sometimes it's not true.
That's also
If you want to be an athlete and you're not athletic, then you're not going to be an athlete.
Mm-hmm. You got to be athletic to be an athlete.
That's right.
Okay.
Did you know athlete is actually in the word athletic?
Athlete is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost the full word. It's crazy.
So
what a coincidence.
No, I thought you were saying the full word athlete was in athletic.
Athletic.
And I was like, no, it's not.
Athletic.
Athlete.
What's next?
I'm trying to find one. Okay, next question is favorite part of the house, and how did you decide you were going to build instead of buy a house on the market? What's my favorite part of the house?
I'm going to start with the second half of the question.
Uh-oh.
We decided to build because we automatically put equity into it by me doing it.
It would honestly be not smart for us to buy one on the market in this market, right? Because it was
Yeah, we would. I mean, it depends if you value time or money more, I guess. But right now we value both. But we were able to save enough with me doing all the work we did. Because if I cut off if I would have only framed it, then it's like, and we didn't have any time, we maybe could have bought it.
yeah.
But because of all the stuff that other people did for us and that I was able to do and contract it, it just made more sense. It was cheaper for us to build, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I kind of meant. Like, especially right now, the housing is very high.
Yeah.
So it was cheaper for us to build it. But I do want to just make it very clear that he worked so much. When I say like he built the house, it wasn't like he told people what to do. It was like he was here all the time, dark to dark, every day. Didn't have a day off, not even weekends, for months.
Kinda.
That's true.
Well, okay. On weekends it was true, but during the week I still worked full time.
But you were still gone working.
Yeah.
Like you had
Yeah.
to work your normal job in order for us to pay this one too.
Right.
That's
It would have been a
job.
lot easier if I didn't have to work my other job,
That's true.
but I did. And we were actually, can I say the other one too?
Yeah.
We were actually building another house as well that we built at the same time, and it was like we painted that one, we painted this one, we trimmed that one, we trimmed this one, we did the flooring over there, we did the flooring over here. So it was like back and forth every other day. But,
yeah. So he had like 3 jobs going.
yeah. So it would have been a lot easier if I could just put all my time into this, but that's not life, and it wasn't practical because we still got to make money elsewhere too.
Yeah. Okay, on to the easier parts.
Okay.
What's our favorite part of the house? I don't know if I can pick just one.
The shower's pretty cool.
The shower is really cool.
When
You'll
you
see it in
guys-
the house tour.
I was gonna say, when you guys see it in the tour, you'll be like, "Whoa, that's cool."
My favorite probably, like, this sounds really cliche, but like the kitchen and pantry, especially the pantry, it's like a Hannah
Oh.
Montana closet for housewives. It's like a walk-in. It's amazing. You'll see it in the house tour too.
My favorite part is not the shower. I forgot I built a gym in this house.
Yeah.
So I have a big gym, an inside gym behind my garage with all my lifting equipment and weights. So that's by far my favorite part.
And I know we're slacking on the house tour, but I'm waiting till we have like our guest bedroom set up and stuff to do it, and I want to make it look really nice.
It took us a month to get mirrors in this house.
Yeah, we just put up mirrors last week, so.
Yeah, once we moved in, we're like, we don't have to do anything to it. This is home.
Yeah,
No
so
mirrors.
it's not going to be an empty house tour or anything. It's going to be a lived-in, furnished house tour. But I hope it will be coming soon, within the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. That's also to keep myself accountable because.
Just to build the suspense.
Yeah, but it's coming.
Good question.
Good question. Next question is things you splurged on that were so worth it.
Gym.
Shower and the countertops for sure for me.
Yeah, after we just said that, it's not, you don't have to get quartz countertops. We did. They're really nice, but you could save a lot of money going with. So if you're going affordable, just go with Formica. But yeah, we splurged and they turned out really nice.
But I will add that we had the Formica countertops in our first house, and I never had any complaints about
She
them.
actually wanted them. When I said I wanted quartz, she wasn't really a fan of that at first because she was nervous.
But we found a really pretty quartz. But I just want to say the Formica there was no problems with it.
yeah, so gym and then a 4-car garage.
And those are your 2?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say the pantry, but that wasn't really like a splurge, was it?
No, that was mostly free because I built it.
Yeah. Something you did that you think is a must-have in new houses.
The pantry.
Yeah, I think if you're building a new house, like you're choosing what you want, get a pantry in your kitchen, no matter what the size is, because it's so nice to have a separate closet for your food items and the extra storage. I don't think I would ever want to go without a pantry again.
There's so many. I think a master bathroom's super nice, but that's like
Yeah.
not like a non-negotiable for me. An office is nice because we don't just have like everything just like laying around and cluttered. And I would say gym, but I wouldn't necessarily put a gym on every house, because if I had a basement, I would just use the basement. But we don't have a basement in this house.
But yeah, when we were talking about, like, when we were trying to draw up the plans and doing rough drafts and stuff, I was like, I really want to have 2 bathrooms, at least 2 bathrooms, because I just think it's really nice when you have guests over, or I don't know, it's just nice to have 2. So
If you make one smell,
that's true. If you make a stinky, and then you got 2 bathrooms.
then you can both do it at the same time.
So that's a must-have for me, is 2 bathrooms for sure. More than 1. That made a funny noise. That made
Just
a stinky
2.
noise. Just
Not
2.
3,
You cannot
not
have
4,
more.
2 bathrooms.
Yeah.
I feel like we're not being very funny in this one. We're gonna
Well,
lose viewers.
It's kind of not a funny video. It's kind of like a adulting video.
I'm not interested in that. Adulting. Stop it.
Okay. Anything you wish you did differently?
I think we're both on agreement on this. I'll let you answer it, because I did most of the talking now.
We were thinking of this like right when we moved in, and if we could change anything, we would just make the living room a little bit bigger.
Yeah, or at least like this walkway between the wall and the couch, because it's like 2.5 feet, which isn't bad, but it's like tighter than we could have made it.
It's honestly totally fine. Like, we don't really sit in the living room that much anyway.
Except when we're making videos.
Yeah, but it's like, it's really cozy, which I like, but it would be nice to have just a little bit more space if we do have people over ever. Okay, then our last question for this video is going to be breaking it down financially. Super curious how much everything costs.
Like we said, we're not going to say the exact cost of our house, but we were able to save probably like 30 to 35% of the total costs, like what the house was appraised for. Yeah, we were able to save about like around 30 to 35% by doing all the work ourselves, by having all the help we had, by doing a lot of work, working 80 hours a week for a while,
Yeah.
and having just machines and people available to help.
And when we were talking about these questions earlier, we were trying to see like if we could explain how much like each part of the house kind of costs, like
if we were to say like
a range.
framing, it really depends on the area you live in. If you're in the city, or if you're in a suburb, or if you're in a rural area, it's so different. That $50 and the $70 number is so different on a house. When you do that, it could end up being different by $100,000. So it's really hard to break it down.
It honestly just wouldn't make sense, because where we live might not be like where obviously not where all of you guys live, so it just doesn't make sense for us to answer exactly, but you could probably find your range on Google or just by calling around.
Yeah, or if you're super serious and you're like planning to actually build, you can reach out to me if you can find me on Instagram, and
I can lead you to him.
I could probably help. If you're like in the area, I could probably give you some decent numbers at least. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's all of our questions. I know that a lot of the curiosity was about how to afford everything and how much everything costs specifically.
Work hard. And you have to be ready to work a lot. That's how you afford it. And
we're just in a very different situation because of your line of work and who our family is and who you know, and
or if you're really serious about building and you're able-bodied, get into a trade. Learn how to be an electrician or a plumber or a framer or an excavator. Some of them are really high-paying jobs. A lot of work. You're on the elements, the heat, the snow, the negative-degree weather, but it pays off in more ways than one. You get your good wage. You get to learn how to work hard, and you get to know the right people and develop your own skills to be able to do your own and save. Could be 10, 20, 30, 40 grand.
Yeah. So I know it probably wasn't a super educational video, but I hope it was informational on...
Oh, one more thing.
Okay.
You could marry rich too.
That's true. You could. That's what I did. I just married someone who's really rich.
Rich in skill.
But yeah, sorry, this probably wasn't the most educational video you could watch on this topic, but it is our process and how it went for us, and that's just the way it is. I hope that it was a little bit informational on, like, if you're just curious on our, you know,
Lives.
yeah. So, yeah, that's it. Let me know if you have any more questions in the comments or on Instagram or wherever.
Tour coming soon.
Yes, house tour coming very soon, and you'll definitely see the house process in that video because I took a lot of videos and I'm really excited to put it up. So that will be up soon. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and maybe I'll see you back next time. Bye.
In the jungle, the quiet jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. Wind boy, a wind boy, a wind boy, a wind boy. In the village, the quiet village, the lion sleeps tonight. Oh, it's getting late.